I'm not much of a high heel type of woman, not because I don't want to be, but because I walk a lot. Like rarely will I ever leave home just for a short stroll, and so I choose comfort. Recently, however, I found an old pair of boots of mine. They have a pointy toe, very small heel, but you would not know by the sound of them. Like they sound like stilettos, I think. Now, of course, I had forgotten about that as I put them on the other week, went outside, and was met with instant regret as the click-clacky sound hit the pavement, but I was too lazy to get back inside and change. And I felt so self-conscious for that entire walk, feeling like everyone was staring at me. I tried walking in a way that doesn't make any sound, and it just made me feel even weirder. And you would think I would swear off wearing those boots ever again, or at least 7 in the morning, but I like the way they look, and I just don't ever want mind ghosts to stop me from doing something. And so I wore them again and again, and I have kept wearing them for a couple of weeks, and in that time, something interesting has happened. So just yesterday, I was out and about running errands here in the city, and it was really hot outside. I was carrying Fred, my puppy, in one arm, my jacket in my other arm. I was carrying my bag, and it just was not my best look, but somehow, the little clickety-clackety sound from my boots made me feel like the world was my runway. I felt like with each step that I took, I was announcing that there was a fine woman coming through. Now, of course, this was all in my head. Literally no one was looking at me. And so naturally it got me thinking, what are some other small, perhaps not so obvious things that may boost self-confidence? Confidence comes from the Latin word fiedere. Future me editing this video, it's not fiedere, it's fidere. We all make mistakes. Which means to trust. Therefore, having self-confidence means having trust in oneself. Wikipedia always has the best definitions. Personally, I define confidence as being aware that I'm actually cool and competent, broadly speaking, of course. And here are some things that have helped me with that. I've been leaving self-labels in the past. You know, I strongly believe that the words that we use to describe ourselves impact our lives more than we think, even when we just use them jokingly. So I avoid saying things like, I'm weird or I suck. Basically, I just don't call myself anything that I don't want to be. I'm not going to say, I'm awkward if I don't want to be awkward. And if I feel the need to use such a word to describe what I'm feeling, I will find a way to communicate it using different words. Learning new things and being good at something definitely boosts self-confidence, and this portion of the video is sponsored by Skillshare, the one subscription that I've gotten the most value out of over the past 3 years. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring and creative classes for anyone who loves learning. I'm currently taking this class called Digital Illustration Learn to Use Procreate by Jerome Vogel, and I'll show you the result when I'm done. That's what it's supposed to look like? I initially started my Skillshare membership to take classes on things like videography and writing, but I've ended up taking classes on so many other things as well because there's just so much interesting to choose from. Okay, so I just compared my drawing to the other students' drawings because with each class there's an assignment that you can choose to participate in, and I don't know how to feel about my drawing anymore. What do you think? Do you want to know what I think? I think that you should use the link in my description box to get a 30-day free trial of Skillshare. There is no commitment. Take a few classes, try it out, take a drawing class, challenge me. Can you make a better drawing than I did? Send me a photo of it and we'll compare them. If you've ever been socially anxious, you know what it's like to get caught up in thoughts like, what do I sound like? What are my hand gestures signaling? Am I being weird? How do I look? It's just a bunch of I. And look, caring about how we're being perceived is human nature, and to some extent we should care. But it's easy to get caught up in our own thoughts about ourselves that we forget to listen and to be present and to pay attention to anything happening outside of ourselves. I've gotten better, I would like to think, at reminding myself to shift my focus outwards instead of inward. So thinking things like, what impression is this person leaving on me, rather than what impression am I leaving on them? Or do I like this person, rather than worrying that they may not like me? Being able to ask good questions, being able to evaluate a person and trusting your judgment, being able to remember what someone said, these are all things that boost confidence. And you can't do them if you're not present. If you do struggle with getting too caught up in your head, one small piece of advice that I have is to wear something that's going to remind you each time that you look at it. So for example, you could wear a ring. In fact, while you're at it, wear 2 rings. One that's going to remind you not to hunch. Good posture, and I know this is the obvious one, but I really had to put it in here. It's not only necessary to give a good impression to others, but on yourself too. Did you know that your posture matters even when you're sitting down? As in, an upright posture can give you confidence in your own thoughts. Body language just makes a world of a difference. Actually, let me just show you. I'm gonna show you. Now look, I'm not even gonna do anything dramatic. I'm not wearing like a cool outfit or anything. It's gonna be a subtle difference, but let me know if you notice. Now, I'm not a posture expert, but what I was thinking about is pretend like you're shooting something from you're shooting bubbles from your middle region. If you're tall, that might be a bit strange. If you're short, that's also gonna give a weird walk. Or you can just pick a different region that you're shooting bubbles from. If you're very tall, maybe you're shooting bubbles from your stomach. Smelling good may be more impactful than you think. I've read in a study that perfumery can be likened to the nose as music is to the ear. And that same study found that 90% of all women tested in the fragrance study reported feeling more confident when they wore fragrance than when they did not wear fragrance. And it had the same effect on men as well. Now, I'm very picky with scents, and it's taking me about half a lifetime, but I finally found a couple scents that I really like. They're very subtle, it's yummy, and it gives me a boost knowing that I smell good and I've gotten complimented for it. So really becoming aware of the spotlight effect, the psychological phenomenon that makes us all think that people are noticing us more than they actually are. You are the center of your own world, but you're not the center of everyone else's world. Getting better at small talk may be the biggest one for me on this list, and actually learning to enjoy it. So I truly value human connection, and I'm genuinely interested in people, but striking a conversation with people is not something that has come natural to me until I got a dog. I would say that I probably socialized more in the past year that I've had him than I did in like the 3 years prior to that. Not a day goes by where I don't stop and have a chat with other dog owners, and in the beginning it felt strange, but now I don't even think about it. I actually like going to the dog park and just hang out with other humans, and I just feel more confident approaching people in general. It just goes to show that the more we do something, the easier it gets. Becoming more comfortable in my femininity. And I'm going to make a whole separate video talking about that. It's been truly life-changing. Resisting the urge to choose comfort over happiness, and I will leave that one for you to interpret. I do my homework as best as I can. You know, being clueless and confident is not admirable, it's foolishness. As Charles Bukowski wrote, the problem with the world is that the intelligent people are full of doubts and the stupid ones are full of confidence. I just do my best to be well prepared for situations that call for it. You know, we all feel good when we can spit facts and thrive in a meeting or in a debate or just a casual conversation even, simply because we've done our homework. And if I'm not prepared, or if I simply just am not knowledgeable on a topic, let's say, I'll just say it. I'll be like, hey, I don't know what the capital of the US is, but I would love to learn. I mean, I know it's New York, it's just an example. Being useful. We all want to feel like our presence, our competence, and our input matters. Humans have a need to be needed. You know, we want to feel like we're contributing. We don't want to feel like an extra that could easily be switched out. In my opinion, or as much as I've been able to think of it thus far, we make ourselves useful by being competent, which speaks for itself, but also by assuming responsibility. So, silly examples, but volunteering to be the one to chop the onion, or to make the call. And if it gets to a point of people pleasing and others running you over, you're in the wrong tribe, my friend. Get a haircut. Try different hairstyles. For me, styled bangs versus unstyled bangs makes like a 50% difference in my confidence. Make sure that you feel good in the clothes that you wear. Do you want people to see you in that outfit? If the answer is no, go and change. Don't go out in the world prepared to hide. I've been trying to adopt more social optimism and just optimism in general, but basically what that means is that I go into situations expecting a positive outcome to be more likely rather than a negative outcome. And if there is not a positive outcome, I try to be okay with that and just move on with my life, you know? When we grow more resilient, which I think partly comes with age, we no longer fear things like rejection or failure or embarrassment to the extent where we let it hold us back in our lives. And now I'd like to end with a quote. And I don't know who originally wrote this or said this, but here we go. A bird sitting on a tree is never afraid of the branch breaking because its trust is not in the branch, but in its own wings. You might have heard it. I really like it.